Welcome to Inside the Deal. I'm Ken Klee, editor of The Deal's Corporate Dealmaker, and we're here today with Vince Pisano, who's a partner at Paul Hastings in New York. The topic is accounting, which is the subject of a column that Vince contributed to our September 15th weekly, and the need for clarity in accounting. So let's start out by getting a sense of the state of play. Fill us in.
Sure. For years now, there's been an effort in the United States to pull GAAP together and to make it more understandable, because it's a very scattered system that's developed over a large number of years. While that's been going on, the SEC has been trying to correct the imbalance between foreign markets and U.S. markets, so that foreign issuers will not be scared away from our markets. And the biggest reason they claim to have stayed away is because they would be forced to reconcile their financials to US GAAP. So the first step by the SEC was to attempt to reach a convergence between US GAAP and international financial standards so that there wouldn't be any reconciliation necessary. Convergence is going on so that the SEC has some ability to shape what international financial reporting standards are, so that when the time comes to switch US corporations over, the SEC will have had some input into what that is. That's an effort that's obviously going to take a very long time. The SEC is thinking that'll start happening in 2014. But there's no question that having a uniform single standard will make things simpler, although not necessarily more clear.
That is a lengthy transition, but I know it's your concern that as we make this transition, we not forget some first principles, if I can call them that, about clarity, about disclosure. Give us your thinking on that.
Well, principles was a good choice of words. Part of the reason for adopting international standards is that they are principle-based rather than specific technical rule-based, as US GAAP is. And the thinking is that writing financial information with principles in mind will lead to better reporting, more understandable reporting, and more consistent reporting around the world. I think that may be true, but I'm not sure that someone would be able to argue that international financial information right now is better, even though those standards have been in place for a long time. I think that what the key is for companies to want to disclose things and to bring the people into the effort to disclose things who are best able to disclose.
Do they not want to disclose things now? And why not?
Well, I think that there's this fear of financial disclosure now. The markets are so volatile, and CEOs are so expendable that if you put out a piece of information, it causes your stock to go up or down dramatically. And I think it also, if the direction is down, then it causes lawsuits and replacement of CEOs. So I think that there's a lot of sensitivity to it. I think people want to disclose, but I think that nobody wants to set their thinking processes out there. They don't want to talk about their choices. They don't want people to be deciding whether or not, or be in a position to decide whether or not something is reasonable. So I think that what really needs to happen is that there needs to be a system in place where companies have some comfort that more disclosure, better disclosure is good for them and safe, rather than worrying about the overall principles themselves.
What kind of a system would we need to give companies that comfort?
Well, in Europe, they've recently adopted limitations on accountants' liabilities, which I think has been a major improvement, because it's helped open up the accountants to assistance from others, more of a willingness to interact with lawyers who actually are trained in making clear disclosures, or at least the older ones are, who know something about accounting. I think that we also, the biggest thing, and something we're not likely to see happen, would be if we could change our, and it's been talked about a lot, is to change our system so that losers in litigation pay legal fees for the other side, as happens in Europe. I think it would eliminate the automatic lawsuits that follow upon any decrease in someone's stock price, and make companies more willing to fight rather than settle baseless lawsuits. It would, if that happened, I think you'd see the level of disclosure.
That would be a big change in the way we, the way our legal system works.
Only a change in 300 years worth of law when I started practicing 30 years ago, I think that was the goal. The accountants and the lawyers were very they interacted very closely to produce the best disclosure. There wasn't this great divide between the accountants and the lawyers.
Okay, for all you accountants out there, we have an invitation from the attorney side, and we're looking forward to the lawyer and accountant reunion. Maybe Paul Simon can even write a song about it. Meanwhile, thanks very much for joining us, Vince. You can find more of Vince's thinking in the September 15th issue of The Deal in our Industry Insight column. For Inside the Deal, I'm Ken Klee. Thanks very much.
Thank you.